The morning was crisp, the only sound a faint rumble of traffic in the distance. A jogger came around the corner, his breath foggy in the cool air. He stopped suddenly, his eyes wide with horror. There, leaning against a dumpster in the weak morning light, was the body of a woman. Panic surged through him. His hand shaking, he grabbed his phone. The operator's voice crackled through the receiver. 911, what's your emergency? He choked out the words. There's a body. She's dead. The first responders arrived to a chaotic scene. The victim, a young woman with bright red hair, lay lifeless. Her eyes stared blankly at the sky. Her clothes were ripped, her face bruised. Detective Inspector Miller looked over the scene, his jaw clenched tight. This wasn't just a random attack. This was personal. This was the work of a predator. The investigation was fast, the team working around the clock. The victim was identified as Kate Baker, a known sex worker in King's Cross. Talking to other women gave them little to go on. Fear was thick in the air, a shared terror that whispered the killer's name. Days turned into weeks, each hour deepening the mystery. The pressure built, the press hounded them, the public demanded answers. Miller felt the weight of the city on his shoulders. Leads went cold. Witnesses disappeared. The killer, a ghost, seemed to vanish into thin air. Frustration ate at Miller. He could see it in the grim faces of his team, in the heavy silence that filled the incident room. Then came the second victim, another woman, another life brutally taken. The way it was done was terrifyingly familiar. The victim, found in a similar state of undress, had the same marks of violence. But this time, there was a chilling addition. A single white lily lay on the victim's chest, a calling card, a creepy message from the darkness. The news of the lily sent chills down Miller's spine. This wasn't just about control, it was about sending a message. Panic seized the city. The killer was getting bolder. The press had a field day calling him the Lily Killer. The name, though over the top, stuck. Word on the street traveled faster than any police report. Fear slithered through the alleyways, whispered from woman to woman. The victims were all known to hang out at the same pubs, on the same streets. They were friends, confidants, sisters in arms against a cold and unforgiving world. Sarah, a friend of the second victim, trembled as she spoke to Miller. She was good, detective, strong, she said, but she was scared. The fear in her eyes reflected the terror that gnawed at Miller's own resolve. The weight of their unspoken pleas pressed down on him. He was their only protection against the monster in their midst. He had to find the Lily Killer before he claimed another life. The breakthrough came unexpectedly, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. A discarded cigarette butt, found near the third victim's body. DNA analysis revealed a match. The killer had messed up. The DNA belonged to Michael Evans, ex-military, history of violence against women. He fit the profile perfectly. Relief washed over Miller, mixed with a grim satisfaction. They finally had their man. The arrest was quick, the evidence undeniable. The city breathed a collective sigh of relief. The nightmare was over, or so they thought. It was during Evans's interrogation that the unthinkable happened. He laughed, a chilling, hollow sound that echoed in the stark interrogation room. "You think you've caught the Lily Killer? You have no idea." His words sent a chill down Miller's spine. Before he could question him further, Evans leaned forward, his voice a low hiss. "Ask your wife about the lilies, detective." The words hit Miller like a punch to the gut. His wife, Julia, a florist, loved lilies. He dismissed it as a cruel taunt, a desperate attempt to cause trouble, but the seed of doubt had been planted. Haunted by Evans' words, Miller found himself at Julia's flower shop. He examined the lilies, their white petals seeming to mock him. He noticed a faint, musky scent clinging to them, a scent he recognized from the crime scenes. His blood ran cold. He raced home, his mind a whirlwind of disbelief and horror. In their bedroom he found a box hidden under the bed. Inside lay a collection of news clippings about the Lily Killer case, and a blood-stained white glove. The truth slammed into him cold and brutal. His Julia, his loving wife, was the monster they had been hunting. The evidence was undeniable, the realization a punch to the gut. The arrest of Julia Evans sent shockwaves through the city. The Lily Killer wasn't some shadowy figure lurking in the darkness, but a seemingly normal housewife. The betrayal cut deep, especially for Miller. The press had a field day, the story making headlines across the nation. The image of Julia, her face pale and drawn, being led away in handcuffs, was forever seared into the city's collective memory. Miller found himself supported by his colleagues. They helped him cope and come to terms with the monster his wife had become. He blamed himself. The weight of her betrayal was a heavy cloak, suffocating him with each breath. The trial was a media circus, the courtroom packed with reporters and curious onlookers. Julia, her demeanor cold and detached, maintained her innocence. But the evidence was overwhelming. She was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. The city slowly began to heal, but the scars of the Lily Killer case ran deep. The case served as a chilling reminder that monsters can hide in plain sight, their true nature concealed behind a mask of normalcy. And Miller, forever marked by the experience, was left to grapple with the devastating truth. The woman he loved was a monster who preyed on the vulnerable. Please like and subscribe. I will be forever grateful.